NHL over the last few years, we've really been known for innovating and changing the way people play and reinventing genres. So our skill stick, you know, it reinvented the way you play hockey. Our EA Sports Hockey League, it reinvented the way you play online. And our Be a GM is we're trying to do the same thing with Dynasty modes. So if you played Be a Pro last year, then you know that how much of an RPG that mode was. Like, you started in the AHL, you got to work your way up. So in this, you're now a GM, and you have to prove yourself to your owner all the time, and I'll show you how that works. Again, here you can use a fantasy draft as well in Dynasty mode, and you'll start at the entry draft. So your season starts just before the draft, which is a huge thing for an NHL GM, so we wanted to start you there. You can start at the regular season if you'd like, but this is really where you want to be. So what you're going to see when we go in here is, again, modeling our Be a Pro mode, and that's our GM tracker. The reason Be a Pro was successful is because we could track how you played as a hockey player in over 50 or 60 different ways. So for a GM, we're doing the same exact thing, but we're tracking you in what a GM needs to do to be a really good GM. So that's what we're going to go through now. And here we are at the main hub for our GM tracker. You can see that there's going to be tasks for you to do, starting from very simple ones, like scouting certain places or winning a game, all the way up to drafting a player and turning him into a superstar 5 years later. So we're tracking everything a GM does. You're getting graded on your team, and if you have no toughness, well, that's going to affect the games that you're playing, because of toughness is a big part of our game this year. So we're tracking that. And you don't have to have a tough team, but as we've seen over the last few years, teams that don't have a tough team are not always doing that well in the playoffs. We're going to go into the mode now, and my owner, first thing he says is he wants a certain amount of wins. He also says we have a prospects game coming up. The prospects game is where the 40 of the top players who are going to be in the draft are going to be playing. So there's a World Junior team, there's a North American Prospects team, and those are the guys that will be in the draft in 4 days from now. So you get to play with them. You can play as either team, you can play against guys who are with them, or just watch it being played. And the great thing there is you'll get a feel for which guys you really like. If you really want an offensive player, then get a guy who feels really good and you're doing some great deets with and scoring some goals with. If you see a 6'5" defenseman who's just killing people out there, then you might want to choose him number one. So we won't play I didn't play the prospect game, so my assistant coach says, hey, here's guys that played really well, here's guys you should keep an eye out for. Our new phone system is always going to keep you alert to what's going on and allow you to make phone calls and make big trades, sign guys. Trading block. This is something our fans have been asking for a long time as well. This is something we haven't had before. This is a chance for you to put guys up on the block that you want other teams to take an interest in and offer you things for. So I could put anything I want. I could put a first-round pick if I want up there. And now teams at the draft, Pittsburgh's offering their first-round pick. I might give them someone for it. Just for fun, we'll put Crosby on it. Now, Pittsburgh fans are going to be mad at me. I know I should never do this, but it's a game. I can do whatever I want. And now other teams will be interested in these guys. Oh, also in there, I'll go to the draft. So I put a couple guys on there. Let's go to the draft. Here's the board. You can look at transactions around the league. Other teams are going to be making trades as well for the draft. You can, but the big thing here is I can make trades at the draft and during the draft, during the different rounds. So we've never had that before, and it's great that we have it now because, you know, second round's about to start. You really want the first pick. You might trade up one of your guys. You'll get offers. So I have two phones I could deal with. I have two offers coming in. I could answer. They have the 16th pick overall. So let's see. I could try to get there first. Oh, they won't over the salary cap. Oh well, now that's inactive. I blew that trade. And lots of other things like that going on all the time. So let me get out of here. Shut down my phones. I have 2 phones there. I'll show you in a bit why I have 2 and not more or less. It's draft, auto draft here. With the prospect game, the other cool thing is you can edit those player names and their attributes, so you can have a realistic draft that simulates one that just happened, or you can just have all your friends or your buddies and put them in the draft as well. So I can use my phone at any time, just pop that up, we'll go to the GM tracker again. Now, you see these task points here, GM tasks, there's hundreds of GM tasks in every category, trading, free agency, rookie scouting, player development. Here, so let's see, here's a good one. Here, 2 of my draftees getting chosen for the All-Star game, I get 60 task points. So, you know, if this is an RPG, these are quests, these are things you need to do to get more experience points. Playoff performance, of course, trophies, guys that have won trophies, or my team that have won trophies, drafting, and staff upgrades. So, as you earn your points, your experience points for doing all these things that a real GM does, you get your points, and then you can go into these different categories. Symbols, so for your amateur scout, he'll find better rumors for you. There'll be rumors around the league, and you can, the better your scout is, the more he's going to find. For your, oh, that's for your pro scout actually, sorry. Your amateur scout is going to be better at finding the draft picks, the best picks around the world. Medical staff, of course, is how much you guys get injured and for how long. And my favorite's the assistant coach. You get your assistant coach all the way up to a high level, and your drafted players will grow faster. And you can actually grow superstars from the draft within a few years if you have a good assistant coach and you play them a lot. Contracts. You could be fired. So, you know, hey, if we're making an RPG about a GM and there's no consequences, what good is that? So, if you don't do well and don't perform, don't win, don't make the playoffs, don't do things your owner wants, you can get fired, and you can he won't re-sign you, or he even fires you. Other teams will offer you contracts, so you can end up jumping around between different teams within the same dynasty. And we track all that throughout years. We track, here's your first contract, I believe it's a 3-year deal, and we track all your contracts throughout your entire career. Your GM records, and then I want to show you GM reputation. So I've played franchise modes since I was, I don't want to date myself, but for a long time. Since video sports games have had franchise modes in them, and I can tell you I've cheated every one of them. I would sign free agents and then trade them the next day. I would trade an 80 for an 81, then an 81 for an 82, and so on until I had a 90 rated player. I would find guys teams just drafted and trade for them because now they're just part of the team and they're not draft picks anymore. I found every way there is to cheat. We don't want people to do that because that's not realistic and authentic. So our GM reputation is keeping track of your relationships with other GMs and with players, free agents and your team, and players from around the league. If I sign a free agent and trade him the next day, my GM rep goes down. When my GM rep goes down, I have less phones to work with and less deals I can make at the draft and on trading deadline day. And free agents might not want to sign with me. And my team might not want to re-sign with me and might go somewhere else. So all these things are happening to be authentic to our sport, to be authentic to what it's like to be a GM. And your goal is to start from an amateur GM and work your way all the way up to a legend GM. Again, just like our Be a Pro was, give you really something to shoot for and make it all the way up to become the best of all time. This was all about depth and all about the different modes that we're adding to the game.